coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this reason God will send them strong delusion, that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. The Lord has shown me that we are living in the last of the last days, the time period right before the culmination of human history and the fulfillment of the events in the book of Revelation. He brought me to this knowledge by his Spirit, and in October of 2017, he gave me a dream that he has now led me to share with you. There are multiple times and places in the Bible where the Lord gave his people dreams, and one of the most common reasons for this was either prophecy to relay to others or for a warning, or both. In the case of the dream that I had, this was definitely a warning. Hey everyone! So this video is going to be a little bit different than the videos that I normally put on my channel. As you can see from the title, it is a dream that I had, and this dream I had in October of 2017, so it was almost a year and a half ago now. This dream is just as relevant today as it was then, if not even more so, and I've actually been kind of struggling with this for almost a year and a half, whether or not this dream was something that I needed to share or not. So after all this time of being in prayer over it and sort of internally struggling over it, I have had it confirmed by the Lord that this is something I'm supposed to share with you. So here we are. So to give you a little bit of background, I've always, ever since I've been saved, I've always had dreams from the Lord. I've never had a platform to share those dreams, so I guess I never even really considered that they would be for other people and not just for myself. He's directly answered prayer through visions to me. He has spoken to me things about his word through visions. I feel like he's given me spiritual training in visions in my dreams. So for years I've been having visions from the Lord, and for years I've been having also visions from the enemy and spiritual attacks in my dreams, and I've grown a lot through those, and the Lord has shown me so much regarding these things. When I went to sleep this particular night, I hadn't been dreaming for quite a long time, and I wasn't expecting to have any dreams. And I had this dream that I'm about to tell you, and it really took me by surprise and kind of like rocked me. And I will explain more about that after I share the dream with you, so that you're kind of on the same page with me as to what I'm talking about. I've been waiting for Jesus to come back my entire walk. I really am a born-again Christian. I have the Holy Spirit. I think that all born-again Christians at some point in their walk start realizing that is the promise that, the Spirit testifies of it. That's the promise that we're waiting for, is our Jesus returning. However, for the past few years, that hasn't been like my main focus. It's been more of like, I know it's coming and I know it's going to happen and I'm waiting for him, but I wasn't really like watching, I would say. I think I was much more distracted by my life here and now, my circumstances, my physical conditions, my relationships, and everything in my personal life. I'm confident saying that it was taking more of my brain power and focus than, watching for the return of Christ by the events that are playing out in the world. But this dream catapulted me into a new way of thinking. It kind of like slapped me awake. I wouldn't say that I was like lukewarm or asleep spiritually, because I really wasn't. But considering what I know now, I was definitely blind to some of what was going on. And anyway, to make a long story short, because of this dream, the Lord showed me, like a slap in the face, showed me what's going on in our world, and that the signs of the times are all around us. And for the last year and a half, I have been watching, and I have been really watching, and the Lord's been showing me things that I know that I couldn't see and that I couldn't understand were it not for the revelation of his Spirit. So he's been showing me things and really bringing me so much deeper and closer into his word this last year and a half than I ever have been in my entire walk. And so anyway, this dream I'm about to share with you, it is a warning. I really wasn't sure for the longest time if the warning was just for me or if it was something I was going to share. And keep in mind that when I first had this dream, I didn't have this YouTube channel. I had it open with like a song or two on it, but I only had one subscriber and I had no intentions of posting any videos other than those songs. So when I first had the dream, the idea of sharing this dream wasn't even on the table because I had nowhere to share it. So that just goes to show you that it's just one more confirmation from the Lord that that is something that I'm supposed to share. I went ahead and animated this dream simply because I could, and also because this dream was so powerful, clear, and realistic to me. I kind of wanted to do the best that I could to pull you guys into it, to really give you the best perspective I can as to what I saw and how real it was to me. And I know that there's people who are watching this who have heard about this stuff before. There's a lot of other Christians talking about this that have been talking about it for years, and I know that. And so I know some of you will have already heard this, and I know some of you may not have ever heard of anything like this, and I know that it might shock you and you might not believe me, and that's okay. Take it to the Lord in prayer, compare it against His Word, always. We're supposed to test the spirits. That's one thing with dreams and revelations and visions. If they don't match up with the Word, if they don't ring true in your spirit, or if the Lord directs you away from them, then by all means follow His leading. But for me, I have been praying about this and wrestling with this for a year and a half. And it was actually just recently that, I got confirmation after confirmation about it. And finally, I had prayed, Lord, if you want me to share this, please just confirm it to me in a way that I can't deny so that I'll know. And it was just a few weeks ago, I had another dream. And in that dream, I was looking through a big window with a pair of binoculars. And I was looking at what was going on outside this window. And I saw something through those binoculars that was just absurd. And in my dream, I was like, nope, I did not just see that. Nope. It's like, I can't tell them about this. It's like, nobody will believe me. And in the dream, I was in a room with my husband's family, and they were the ones I was supposed to be telling. And anyway, that dream ended. I told my husband about it after I woke up, and as I was talking to him, I said, well, I was the one holding the binoculars. And I said, if I don't tell them what I see, no one's going to tell them because I'm the one with the binoculars. I'm the one who's looking. I'm the one who's been given this vision. And as soon as I said that to my husband, it was like this epiphany in my spirit of like, okay, I just said it with my own mouth. Like, God has given me the binoculars. He's given me this revelation, and it is for me to tell you. And if I don't tell you, what kind of person does that make me? If I see something coming and I really truly believe that it is coming and that it's from the Lord and I don't tell you, that would make me fairly selfish. But I know a lot of you aren't going to receive this and believe it right away, and that's all right, because I'm going to say when this does happen, you'll remember watching this video, you'll remember what I said, and I hope that it will serve you the way that it was intended to by God. So, here we go. I'm just going to put up the animated images as I read my dream to you. Okay, my dream. I do want to say, up until this dream, I never thought about aliens really ever. I may have thought in passing that they might exist, but honestly, I don't really care. Never really cared. I had not watched any movies about aliens recent to this dream or thought about them at all, so it definitely was not a product of outside influence. In my dream, I was in a huge building, looking out a massive window with no window pane, with a large windowsill in front of me. The window looked out over the silhouette of a city at night. The buildings were black silhouettes, and the sky was lit up greenish over the city, and there was a beautiful bright star shining above the city. A field stretched between me and the city, and there were trees, like a forest, at the end of the field in front of the city. As I am looking out the window, a human-like figure comes walking toward me out of the darkness. He gets just close enough that I can almost see his face, but not quite. He asks, "Where is your faith?" I did not answer in words, but smiled and put my hands over my heart. He said, "Good, your faith is in your heart. He will be coming for you soon." I immediately knew in my spirit that he meant Jesus. Then he reached out and laid a flower on the windowsill in front of me, and then he disappeared back into the darkness. I picked up the flower and examined it. It was a sprig of white flowers, but they were all dead and dried. But in their place there was a beautiful new, flower-like substance I had never seen before: gold, pearl, and little droplets of silver. The following scripture immediately came into my spirit. 1 Corinthians 15, verses 53 to 54. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible has put on incorruption, and this mortal has put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, Death is swallowed up in victory. Next, I turned to look inside the building I was in. There were a lot of people inside with me, almost like we were in a large building of classrooms. There was a closet in one room, and there was a whispering voice coming from inside the closet from behind a closed door. Some people would walk up to the door and press their ears to the door. The voices would give them instruction, and they would go away to do the voice's bidding. Then the closet door was flung open, and several men came out. They were dressed in black, with just black suits and black ties. It was very apparent in my spirit that these men were demonic. Whether they were demonically indwelt or demons themselves, I don't know. But they were very cold, and they were dressed in all black, and I knew in my spirit they were demonic. They started giving orders and instruction, and now everyone could hear them. I immediately heard in my spirit, what was behind closed doors has now come out into the open. I turn again to look out the window at the city, and now there are flying saucers flying out from above the city. Most are black, but one was red. The men from behind closed doors start giving instructions, saying, The aliens have come. You all need to go with them. If you are a Christian, you must board the red ship, as that ship is covered in the blood of Christ. I felt uneasy in my spirit, but myself and a group of people I don't know started traveling to get to the red ship. We went out into the field and eventually came to this huge hollow tree. There was a staircase carved into the tree to walk up into the branches. The red flying saucer hovered above, waiting for people to board. I got to the staircase, but as soon as I stepped inside, I was immediately aware that this was wrong and not what I should be doing. Lots of people were climbing the steps, and myself and a few others tried to convince them to stop, but most people did not listen. Myself and maybe 3 others ran from the tree and out into the field and turned again to look at the tree. And then, before our eyes, we watched the red saucer transform into an enormous demonic black bird with white glowing eyes. Many people climbed up into its feathers, and then it took them and flew away. Those of us in the field just stared in shock, thinking, whoa, we almost just got taken by demons. I was immediately aware that all the aliens were demons. Then I woke up. As soon as I woke up from this dream, I was shaken. I mean, the dream, the way I animated it for you is very cartoonish, because that's just the best I could do with the short amount of time I had. But the dream was so realistic. I mean, down to like every leaf on the trees I could see. It was in such vivid detail. It was as if I was there. So when I woke up, I was just very shaken by this. And plus the content. I mean, I just dreamt about alien ships. I'm like, what in the world? I mean, that is not something I expected or that I think about. I immediately went and told Garrett about the dream, and it stuck with me all day. I was just pondering it all day. But honestly, after a few days, it just kind of faded. I still remembered it, but I kind of stopped thinking about it so much, and then that was that. I still, in my back of my mind, was wondering what it meant. But here is where it starts to get amazing. And the second part of this video is going to be all the confirmations I've had that this dream came from the Lord, and also to show you how this is actually playing out in our world. It's incredible, guys. I really hope you watch the rest of this video. So anyway, what happened next was just amazing, and this is what I'm talking about, where I got sort of catapulted into this new way of thinking and have been watching now for the return of Jesus literally every day since. There was just this season then a few days after this dream where the Holy Spirit just fell on me. I don't even know how else to describe it. I mean, I could barely sleep, I could barely eat. All I was doing was just having this personal revelation from the Lord. I got so hard into His Word. I was praying, praising, just being with Him all day. He was all I could think about, which He normally is all I can think about, but this was a whole other level. I didn't understand why this was happening, but it was, and He was giving me instructions and just being with me. He was being with me. And in that time, I felt like led to get off social media for a while. I was using Instagram and Facebook. I felt led to completely delete Instagram because it had been negatively impacting my mind in ways that I had not even realized until the Lord showed me how much my mind was being infiltrated by these images I was seeing on Instagram. My personal Facebook has always been very small and locked down. I don't really have much on there, and I've censored it a lot, so I didn't feel led to delete that, but I did feel led to just get off of it and just be with the Lord, so I did that. And then about one day later, I felt led to go on and explore YouTube. And here I'm thinking, oh, I must just be addicted to the internet because, I get off my social media and the very next day I'm here trying to explore a new social media because I hadn't really used YouTube. But this was from the Lord, you guys, because I got on YouTube. I didn't know how it worked. I had never before explored like the suggested feed, like when you go and it just suggests you videos. So I opened that up, and one of the first things that was in my video feed, it said, alien deception dream. And I'm like, so I clicked on it, and here it turns out it was someone else having almost the exact same dream that I had. And so just put yourself in my shoes for a second here and just think about what that would be like. It was a supernatural thing to have a dream and have literally no idea about any of the content of this dream. I'd never heard about this before. I'd never even heard a whisper of it, you guys. I am telling you the complete truth. I will never on this channel exaggerate anything or try and make it seem more exciting than it really is. This actually happened to me. I had a dream that hundreds, if not thousands of other people are having, other Christians are having at this exact same time. And here some of them have shared it, and it was there for me to see. So my jaw pretty much hit the floor. I was just mind boggled by this. And I went and told Garrett right away. I was like, other people literally had the exact same dream that I did. And here it really appears that the Lord is giving a warning to his people that this is coming, that there's going to be a deception where we have what's considered to be like an alien invasion that's actually not aliens, but it's demons posing as aliens. And really, as I have then begun watching in the world and seeing that play out, it is not that unfeasible of a deception. I mean, it would be not difficult to get people to believe in an alien deception, considering most people in America anyway, because I'm American. I mean, I can't really speak for the rest of the world and their cultures, but most people that I see like online and in my culture would be way more prone to accept that aliens exist than they would be that demons exist. So it actually is very plausible. I know there's a lot of you that are not going to be able to receive this. I mean, if you can't believe in Jesus, if you haven't come to the point where you believe in Jesus, and if you can't accept that demons and angels are real, then yeah, I really don't. I mean, I totally understand you, why you wouldn't be able to receive something like this. And you probably think I'm insane, but I mean, that's okay. This happened to me exactly as I'm saying it happened to me. I had this dream, I had this confirmation, and found out other people are having the exact same dream. So that left me with two options. This dream was either from God or it was from the enemy. And so then, I proceeded to be watching. And the rest of this video, I'm going to be showing you how this is actually playing out in our world today, and we're actually seeing it in the mainstream media and from other sources. And if you think about that, just a few short years ago, if someone had mentioned aliens, they would just be mocked and ridiculed as insane and scoffed at. You're not going to be seeing it on television or in the media. Now, there have been videos and reports on alien activity on CNN, on Fox News, and I'm including a clip from both of those because I want you to understand this is something that goes beyond the political divide. This isn't just one political side who's saying this is going to happen. This is like everyone. And that's pretty amazing considering how divided our nation is. This issue, I mean, it spans the political divide. It's not one side or the other. Actually, all the mainstream medias have had stories on this. So I am going to show you some of those, plus some other things from entertainment and some other articles from different sources in the world to show you. It's really interesting, you guys. It's quite honestly supernatural. And I feel led that I need to tell you this. This is what God speaks of in the Bible when you see the sword coming, warn my people. I mean, this is the sword coming, you guys, and I know a lot of you I know a lot of you will struggle with it, and I know some of you probably already know about it and you're already on this page, but just stick with me here for the rest of this video, and I'm going to show you some articles. I'm going to show you a few video clips. Okay, we're going to start with an article about an object, an interstellar object, as they call it, that passed through our solar system, supposedly, back in October of 2017, right around the same time I had this dream, which was amazing. But this was one of the first things that I saw in the news when I started looking. Title of this article, Something Weird This Way Comes. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name of this thing, but it's a Hawaiian name, and I'll just call it the interstellar object. I don't speak Hawaiian, so I don't want to butcher that. But this says, Harvard researchers see alien potential in mysterious object. Now, at first, when they saw this thing, that wasn't the consensus. But then after a year went by and they were studying it, now Harvard researchers come out and say, oh, it could definitely be alien. So we've got very prestigious scientists, well, maybe they weren't all scientists, but a prestigious organization that is comfortable publishing a paper about this idea. It says, a mysterious cigar-shaped object spotted tumbling through our solar system last year may have been an alien spacecraft sent to investigate Earth, astronomers from Harvard University have suggested. The object nicknamed, and there it says that, meaning a messenger that reaches out from the distant past in Hawaiian, was first discovered in October of 2017 by the Pan-STARRS-1 telescope in Hawaii. Since its discovery, scientists have been at odds to explain its unusual features and precise origins, with researchers first calling it a comet and then an asteroid before finally deeming it the first of its kind, a new class of interstellar objects. Now, a new paper by researchers at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics raises the possibility that the elongated dark red object, which is 10 times as long as it is wide and traveling at speeds of 196,000 miles per hour, might have an, quote, artificial origin. This object may be a fully operational probe sent intentionally to Earth vicinity by an alien civilization, they wrote in the paper, which has been submitted to the Astrophysical Journal Letters. And now I will let you watch a short video clip I found it from CNN, about this interstellar object.
This object is simply a piece of another solar system that was expelled, and it has been traveling through interstellar space for hundreds of millions of years, billions of years, we don't know. We don't see that in our solar system. None of the asteroids in our solar system look like that. So it's very puzzling how it could have obtained this shape.
So after learning about that, the next thing that I found was, I believe it was in 2014, but the Pope said that he would baptize aliens. So then you get articles like this one. For Pope Francis, it's about more than Martians. And this article was by Time. And then here's another article by Independent that says, Pope Francis says he would baptize aliens. Who are we to close doors? The first article says, on Monday morning, Pope Francis preached that he would baptize Martians. He caused, yet again, quite a stir. And the second article says, Francis said that Christianity had struggled from its earliest stages with the temptation to reject, quote, the living presence of God in various forms. But he added, when the Lord shows us the way, who are we to say, no, Lord, it is not prudent. No, let's do it this way. Who are we to close doors? While Francis appears to have taken the argument to its logical extreme, this is not the first time that the Vatican has raised the prospect of baptizing extraterrestrial beings. Speaking at the British Science Festival in 2010, one of then Pope Benedict XVI's astronomers said he would baptize an alien, quote, if they asked. While he accepted that the chances of ever getting such an opportunity were slim, Guy Consolmagno said, any entity, no matter how many tentacles it has a soul. Well, that is, unless it's a demon, then I would beg to differ. But I found that article, and then, as the year went on, I started seeing newscasts like these.
UFOs have captivated the public interest for decades, but they've always been dismissed, including by me, as the province of wackos. But that is changing, thanks to some remarkable videotape and first-hand accounts from very sober people who are trained to identify aircraft. And that would include this video. It shows two Navy pilots encountering something bizarre off the east coast of the United States. Watch this.
Oh, God!
These are guys who fly for a living, who know what other airplanes look like, including those maintained by foreign governments, and they're totally shocked by this. This is one among many incidents like it, including many that have happened in the middle of the day to sober people, lots of independent witnesses at the same event, commercial pilots, military pilots, O'Hare Airport in the afternoon. None of them have obvious explanations. These are aircraft, apparently, that are moving in ways that appear to violate physics, that are flying very differently from any aircraft ever observed, and way faster than any plane that we know any foreign country has. What is this? Well, we don't know, because for some reason the Defense Department is not interested in finding out. Lou Elizondo is a former Pentagon official. He helped research UFOs. He said the DoD is not taking any of this seriously for some reason. Mr. Elizondo joins us tonight. Lou, good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
So did I overstate that? Is there a growing corpus of evidence, not drunk people on a lonely rural road at 3 in the morning, but sober military pilots saying something that we can't explain is happening?
That is correct. You're talking about individuals who have very high security clearances. They are trained observers. We've actually paid them and put them through schools to be trained and very keen observers to scrutinize what they're seeing. These are individuals who we trust to fly weapons platforms, sometimes with live munitions, over U.S. cities and to fight and win wars on our behalf. And they're reporting to us that they're seeing something that they can't explain, and it's also being backed up by the video evidence and the radar data and other witnesses.
But these must just be weather balloons, right?
Well, the weather balloons that are expressing technologies that are far beyond our current understanding of aerodynamics, things that are maneuvering in ways that no aircraft that we are currently aware of has that capability to. Flight performance characteristics that are well beyond the threshold of what we would consider, I think, normal or routine for aircraft.
Commander David Fravor still can't explain what he says he saw that day. November 2004, the Navy fighter pilot was on a training mission west of San Diego when he was ordered to check out something in the water not far away. On a clear day, over a smooth ocean, he saw the object, waves breaking over it, and says he saw something hovering above it.
It's randomly moving north, south, east, west, just random. You know, just stopping, going the other direction, like you could do with a helicopter, but a little bit more abrupt. It looks like a 40-foot-long tic-tac with no wings.
Fravor says he and his four-man team tracked the object for several minutes until it just disappeared. Tonight, CNN has learned the Pentagon had a secretive program to research UFOs like the one Fravor spotted. The project was called the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, run by an official named Luis Elizondo.
I think this is a national security imperative. We have clear things that we do not understand how they work, operating in areas that we can't control.
So there are those videos, and then on the entertainment side of things, I even found some evidence that my dream might actually be reality. This movie, it's a Netflix movie, came out sometime in the middle of 2018, so well after I had my dream. It's called Extinction. I mean, you can watch the trailer for it, you can YouTube the trailer if you really want to, but this movie is literally about a man who continually has dreams about a coming alien deception, and no one believes him, and he is thinking he's going insane, and then the aliens invade, and he's the only one who knows what to do because of all of his dreams. So I saw this movie and I just kind of shook my head, and I'm like, well, that's crazy. So in our popular entertainment culture, we're even seeing this subject. And then onto the more serious side of entertainment, there is a documentary that was produced. I'm not sure what year. This came out before I had my dream, but I only found out about it after I had my dream. And the way I found out about this was actually another kind of supernatural confirmation. I was attending a church at the time, and the pastor of my church posted an advertisement for this documentary to his Facebook asking what people thought about aliens being demons. Which was insane, because what are the odds that the pastor of my church was going to talk about this very strange and not popular subject? But he did. And this documentary is called Alien Intrusion: Unmasking the Deception, and it is literally it is a documentary about how, according to many firsthand witness sightings and manifestations and experiences that people have had seeing aliens and other evidence in the world, that there is a very strong case for the fact that aliens are definitely demons and not actually aliens, and that it's very likely that there's other beings, aka demons, that are trying to paint this picture that they're aliens when they're not. So I highly suggest you watch that documentary. I'm going to link it in the description box. So I'm going to play the trailer for it for you now.
Our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
These objects have been tracked since the early 1950s, if not earlier, traveling up to 7,000 miles per hour, making right-angle turns at high rates of speed.
With all due respect to the Air Force, I believe that some of them will prove to be of interplanetary origin.
Our commanders all told us, just keep your mouth shut about it. We can't say it did or didn't. So for 64 years, I've been trying to explain what we saw. And you're the first guys that really want to know what I saw.
Well, I have interviewed hundreds of people who claim to have had amazing sightings, including those who claim to have been abducted.
If we go back to, say, the Middle Ages in England, we get reports of fairies, of goblins, of little creatures, and they parallel eerily today's abduction experiences with the so-called Greys. I think we're dealing with beings that are creating a meme to sow the seeds of belief in extraterrestrials, when in reality there's something extremely different.
For me, the experiences really started with what I would call manifestations.
You can't do anything. They're in total control.
I became paralyzed, and the entity, or whatever it was that was doing this to me, was laughing at me, and I was so afraid. I didn't know what to do. I can't remember whether I said, Jesus, 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 or Jesus help me, Jesus help me. But at that instant, my experience stopped, and I hit the bed, which woke my wife up, and she asked me what I was doing jumping on the bed.
If these actually are extraterrestrial entities flying millions of light years across space, why would they be afraid of the name of Jesus and run from you when you bring him up?
I think you'll find the truth, it's a lot stranger than most people realize.
If this has not yet been enough to get you at least thinking about the possibility that this could be a reality, don't worry, there's more. Actually, there's more than I'll even include in this video. I mean, I've been watching the news and seeing things for a year and a half, and I've seen so many things. Way too many to put into this video, and some I'm sure I couldn't even find again, but I have a couple more pieces of evidence here for you to add to the mounting pile of evidence. So this next video clip is actually about how scientists have decided that it's possible that the octopus, the common octopus we find in the ocean, is of alien origin and not actually of life on Earth at all, implying and agreeing with the idea that alien life exists, and it's very likely that we will interact with it.
Monsters among us.
Blue blood. These large, complex eyes, skin that can change color and texture, arms that are lined with these suckers.
You can watch one move right in front of you, and within a second it disappears.
They're very different from what we see in other animals, and that's what makes them seem so alien.
In December 2014, University of Chicago geneticists launched an investigation to uncover the secrets behind the octopus's otherworldly abilities. They discover important sections of their genes are unlike any other life forms.
We found around 10% of the genes didn't have a match to genes in other animals.
The octopus is like nothing that we've ever seen. Genetically, it looks exceedingly alien. Geneticists call these critical segments of DNA de novo genes.
So the study of de novo genes is a very new field of evolutionary biology and functional biology, and it's pretty cutting-edge stuff.
Scientists propose these mysterious genes first evolved within alien microbes. They hitch a ride through space on the thousands of asteroids hurtling through our solar system. In August 2011, NASA scientists discover evidence that could support the contentious theory. They find the amino acid building blocks of DNA in samples from an Antarctic asteroid.
Is it possible that DNA evolved in space could have infiltrated life here on Earth?
I think that has to be considered a very serious proposition at the present time.
Okay, this last video clip that I have for you is a clip I found. It was posted literally less than a week ago. I saw it on YouTube. This was a Fox News clip. Again, just more evidence of alien activity and the fact that people believe this is so probable. So this will be the last piece of information I have for you to watch as far as evidence goes. And when I saw this clip, I thought, wow, I really need to get this video made. I'd been meaning to work on this video for a while, and I was working on it bit by bit, but I wasn't prioritizing it. And when I saw this, it put this urgency in my spirit. It's like, I really think this is happening, and I just wanted to make this video, and now you all have this information to ponder for yourselves. So here is the last clip I have.
Well, on this show over the years, we've kept you pretty consistently informed of any weird activity in the skies above us. Most shows don't do that. They're too embarrassed, but we're not. Why would we be? If alien life exists, it's far more likely we'll hear from it before we see it. Now, a telescope in Canada reports picking up a strange, powerful signal from far, far away. What is it exactly? Greg Larson has been looking into it for us. He's morning anchor for Fox News Headlines 24/7 on Sirius XM, and he joins us tonight with more. Hey, Brett.
Hey, Tucker. Yeah, this is definitely one of those what kind of stories. This is something called a fast radio burst. It was detected multiple times, and it has many scientists saying we need more data. So a couple things can be a fast radio burst. It could be a neutron star with a strong magnetic field, two neutron stars colliding, a black hole perhaps, and yes, could actually be an alien. The latest discovery comes almost by chance from something called CHIME. It's the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment. And get this, the system wasn't even completely set up when they discovered the bursts. Now, the fast radio bursts found are from a galaxy very, very far away, 1.5 billion light years to be exact. And it is just the second time that a repeat of a fast radio burst has been detected. And the object CHIME found produced actually 6 different bursts. ARS Technica reports that of the dozens of fast radio bursts identified, only one other has produced multiple bursts, and this is actually kind of significant. More and more scientists are looking into the skies with more precise instruments to find these signals, and they don't last for very long. This isn't something you're going to hear. It's like a fraction of a second, and it shows up on a graph. Now, some astronomers have considered the idea that these bursts could be from intelligent life elsewhere, and with more scientists searching for them, we will likely find out more about them and find more of them. I think it's alien. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I think it's alien, and I think it's fascinating that you point a radio receiver to the sky, and we pick up radio signals. Now, granted, there are scientific explanations for it, but
so to flip it around, I just want to be sure I understand this. I mean, there's nothing about it that I really understand, but there's no hard consensus that this is a naturally occurring phenomenon. So there are serious scientists who believe this could be an intentional act, the sending of these radio signals.
So it could be from the collapse of a planet. It could be signals that come out of a black hole. And if it is signals that come out of a black hole, that's awesome too, because we can then learn more about them. It could be a neutron star. It could be 2 of them colliding. And again, that's also a very cool thing that we caught it. We can now hear the signature that it makes when these things happen in the skies above us, in the galaxies literally beyond the Milky Way. If it's alien and it's get Jodie Foster. We got to build the spaceship and send her.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'd include Jodie Foster in that. Try to keep it up in mind,
contact.
Brad.
No, I know.
Good to see you. Thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.
So there you have it. This was, I know, a long video. I really hope everybody watched it until the end. I tried to cut it down as much as I could, but there was just so much I really felt like was relevant to what I needed to say. So now it's out there, and I hope some of you take this seriously. I hope you consider it, because I really did have the dream I had. I really didn't know about any of this when I had this dream. And I mean, I really have seen this stuff in the news and in the world, and I've been seeing this whole story just kind of play out. So I felt led to make this. I know that this was the Lord who wanted me to make this. I don't put anything on my channel lightly. So something like this, especially, where I know it's going to be a contentious subject and people are going to think I'm insane, it's not like something that I was excited to put out in public. But a year and a half of prayer and consideration went into this video, so I know in my spirit, I am sure it's of the Lord, and I know that He wants me to relay it to all of you. And because of that, I know that even if it's just one person, this has some eternal purpose for someone out there. So praise God for the way He works, and praise God and thank God that He loves us enough to warn us of the things that are coming and shake us awake and out of our stupor and our sleep, so that we can come into His light and His righteousness. And really, that's how I want to close this video. Please get covered in the blood of Jesus. Surrender your life to Him. Jesus, Yeshua, that is His Hebrew name. Just surrender your life to Him. Read the Word of God. Read the Bible. Because God is real, and Jesus is real, and angels and demons are real. And I know an enormous amount of people in our world today have no idea about that because of elaborate deceptions that have been put before our eyes for our whole lives. I understand it. I was the same way. And sometimes, there are still things about this life that when the Lord reveals them to me, I'm just not comfortable with it right away. It's like my brain goes into shock for a little while, but I don't ever want to be the kind of person that denies the truth and denies reality, no matter how uncomfortable or no matter how outlandish it may seem. I love the truth, and I seek the truth, and I want the truth, and I would not be putting this out there if I did not believe with all my mind and heart and my spirit that this was the truth. So thank you so much for watching this, and I'd like to hear your comments below. Please know if the comments get contentious, or if they're aggressive, or if they're rude, or really anything that's not of God, they're getting deleted. I do censor the comments section. That's how I have felt led to deal with it on my channel. So just know that if you leave a comment that is, a giant thesis telling other people how to think, or if you think you're going to come on this comment section and argue and harass people, it's not going to happen. It'll just get removed. But I do love interacting with you, because that's one of the ways that this YouTube channel has blessed me personally, is getting to interact with all of you, my amazing brothers and sisters in Christ, and even those of you who aren't believers. If you're just willing to listen to other people's perspectives and discuss it, I enjoy interacting with you. So go ahead and leave some comments, and I'll monitor them, and hopefully this moves and touches whoever it was supposed to touch. And thank you all. Bye.